Usually I just start off these videos by saying hello or something. Just something, some slight sarcastic greeting or something. Not feeling it at all today. It's currently about 12:10 in the afternoon, and we'll be exploring the, well, hopefully exploring the district of New Edinburgh today, and hopefully as well the district of Vanier, which I'll state in some of my previous exploring Ottawa videos, I was wrong about how to pronounce the name of that district next to the Gloucester district. It's not Vanier, it's Vanier. New Edinburgh. It's probably only, as far as I'm aware, in terms of foreign. Let me switch hands here. Then go like that. Foreign or just domestic Canadian recognizability or recognition. It's really only known for being the residency of Prime Minister and their family, if they have one, in Canada. You know my thoughts on that. Well, what were my thoughts on that? Rideau Cottage, which is where their main quarters are when the acting Prime Minister is in service. Or on the Rideau property grounds. Speaking of which, this might be it. Okay. What I'm seeing along the road appear to be just standard Canadian duplexes. But looking on a map, the subdivisions surrounding the Rideau property seem to be mainly consisting of upper middle class to low range wealthy, well, families. So yeah, let's see if I could get to anywhere interesting right now. B. I was correct. Rideau Hall. Special residence, the Governor General of Canada as well. Huh. Didn't know that. So it's both the Prime Minister and the Governor General that live here during their time in service. It's closed off to the public. Yes, it is. Well, if I go back down that way, I'd be, well, making my way to the borderline between the districts of New Edinburgh and Vanier. Keep heading down that way, I get to an area of a few more small businesses. Yeah. I guess I'll keep heading down that way. Alright. Never mind. I was wrong. It is, apparently, open to the public. Or at the very least, whatever yard keep or Secret Service, well, no. Well, if this is open to the public, then there may or may not be Secret Service wandering around. Or just, if it's not supposed to be accessible to the public, whoever left this open, well, they weren't thinking too hard about that, I guess. To Hall, welcome. Welcome to our costume party, where we pretend to actually run a country well. Or more specifically, in regards to this place, we pretend to, well, dress up ourselves in nice, lavish property in order to convince people that we have some sort of elegance to us. Oh, well. Unless that's a member of Parliament out on their morning stroll with special access this place, I'm heading on in. And of course, my tent, my self-inflating tent, which currently has tape over it, as could not figure out how to shut it properly without it. Had to hit that, because of course. Ah, well. Ooh. I will say, nice, vast, open courtyard. Is this what I think it is? Are you another fruit tree? Just like the other ones strewn about, seemingly all through Ottawa? Maybe, maybe not. You might just be the dying stems of whatever petals or leaves were on you. Oh. This is very oh. Hello. Am what pointless branch of police are you? Film it, goddammit. Oh. Of course. You have the pride flag plastered to the side of you. So do, as I've been noticing with quite a few police cruisers throughout the city, now at least, have the LGBTQ plus pride flag just posted on their decal, or added as a part of their decal. Absolutely, no doubt, a performative move. A desperate attempt to seem like they help members of the community, when in reality, they either have mass prejudice towards them, their cultural traditions, and violate them in all sorts of ways physically, or degrade them, or just assimilate them into being, and I don't believe, or I didn't believe there was anything wrong with this, but forced assimilation is never a good thing, into what would be known as I'd call it a straight person in a LGBTQ plus clothing. Even though technically heterosexual is a part of the LGBTQ plus, but I think you know what I mean. Yeah, that don't look too out of place. That'll be fine. Well, judging by the looks of you, you are either a fountain of some kind in the warmer months, or similar to the continuously burning flame in the water fountain on Parliament Hill. Well, it might just be a larger version of that. That is... well, it's pretty. It's very simplistic. Going behind here for a sec. See if I can get another angle. I get the idea behind it, I think. Intimacy for someone you care about, and a cross, well, possibly to represent cross-cultural connection between people. Maybe, I don't know. Or, oh, like other parks, you have, it seems, plaques commemorating people that have lost their lives. And seeing as it's fresh, well, not very fresh, but footprints here, let me just take a gander at you. Were you honoring someone? Huh? No? Oh? Osmosis. Susan Stromberg, 1993. I don't know if that's the artist, or if that is commemorating someone. Well, rest in peace if it is. Hope you lived a good life. As best you could. Oh, that was courteous of them to run around my Yeah, I shouldn't have left that there. Not because I'm worried about people taking it, but because that's kind of right in the middle, obstructing the path. That was stupid of me. Okay. Let's keep walking. Sorry about that. Very lovely so far for the sentiment behind it all being here being very plastic. Okay, I have no clue what that building is. That might be the residence of, well, could be the residence of the Governor General. There's no way in hell that's Rideau Cottage. For how we prioritize elected officials, there's no way that, actually, last again, I checked on the map, I don't even think the grounds of, well, the section of these grounds that house Rideau Cottage, I don't think you're allowed to go anywhere on those premises at all without special clearance. But this path apparently goes to the main gates, and this one that person just ran down, I don't know. Has to lead somewhere further into this place or out to the street, or the external streets. Either way, it leads me deeper into New Edinburgh. So, yeah. Just taking the... For a second, I did not know what that was driving past down there. Well, I didn't know that was anything driving past. I thought it was something running through those trees. God, I love dysphagia. Love jumbling up my normal state of grammar. Love it. You're a steeple of some kind. I don't know if you're just for a really large church or no. Nope, no way. Not this area. No way you'd be able to see the Parliament. At least I don't think so. It is a, well, large steeple. I don't know what else to say about that. Once again, very pretty. But as far as I'm concerned, insincere. Well, I can say that's a very, very lovely view of the rolling hills of Lower Quebec. But unfortunately, it's right next to this, well, externally pretty, somewhat, but, well, ideologically eyesore of a building to me. So, came out from over there. So after checking on a map, the actual building that I was standing in front of on the Rideau grounds was in fact Rideau Hall, and it was the residence of the Governor General. However, going around ways, well, the route I'm taking, I'm gonna just sort of circle around from what would be Union Street down a ways to, I think it's called Princess Lane. I was originally going to go from that way up along what would be Princess Lane, but I said fuck it. And down that way is actually where apparently the entrance entrances would be to Rideau Cottage, where JT is stationed. Now, considering I was able to access that area, I actually don't know if you can go on the grounds of Rideau Cottage, because I'd always thought that the actual grounds, the yard area or anything that's within very close walking proximity to the cottage was strictly off limits to the public, but the rest of the Rideau grounds were opened. As you can see around here, awkwardly waiting for you to drive away so I can shit talk you. Yep, check. There's a lot of unnecessary police patrolling around. Not just the branch of police, which apparently these people driving around here, these squad cars, are RCMP officers, or at least according to what's labeled on the sides of their vehicles. They're members of the RCMP. I don't know what branch, but they're members of them. And yeah, like most policing, as I initially thought, encroaching. They're not, these ones aren't even patrolling, these people aren't patrolling on the actual grounds even, much like the PPS, Parliamentary Protective Service Police. The day I went down to the downtown area at Parliament Hill and ended up sitting in on Daniel Beaufort, one of the leaders of Diagolin, his court hearing to well, present his case against the government of Canada. I saw PPS just patrolling on the streets off of the Parliament's property. So yeah, considering my phone is right now at 74%, I'm gonna get down a ways, go into a cafe. I don't know why I said it like that. A cafe, and just see how it is, because I'm going to, well, all going well, try and apply there for another job. As I stated in my last video, I lost my most recent one that I held for 2 weeks, only because of a miscommunication, unfortunately. So, yeah, I'll do that. Well, these water levels look, not gonna lie, dangerously high. Seems to be a lot of excess water runoff from any snow melting or the ice, the thin ice sheets on top of the water. In this section, I can't see it from here. It's either a section of, or it is just full blown the Ottawa River. It's not any sort of diverging channel. Well, you can see it doesn't look the cleanest right now. Oh, here. Sorry. Well, it's something to look at today. Huh. Little ice chunks just drifting along. Oh, that is actually a very beautiful reflection. Ooh. That actually kind of... Sorry. There's something I learned about while staying here in Ottawa about a month and a half or so back. It's a phenomenon known as Morgana. And this, in my opinion, is almost, if I angle that a certain way, if I angle it, can I angle it where you can't see the rest of the surroundings? Yeah, that gives almost, it's getting a little too close. But if you look up what Morgana is, that looks pretty similar. Basically, Morgana is an optical illusion phenomenon that has been reported in a lot of nature photography, particularly in people who specialize in taking photographs of ocean landscapes or coastlines. And often, I don't know the exact, what would the field of geometry be? It's a subspecialty of geometry and mathematics. Topography? Possibly topography. I don't know the geometric, I don't know the exact physics behind the illusion, but in terms of our ocular senses and neurology, it muddles, standing at whatever angle you are, you're standing at a perfect enough, you're standing at just perfect enough a height to where the horizon line, or whatever I guess is being reflected from it, whatever, I guess, dimensional, well, yeah, I guess in terms of like dimensional dividing line, whatever it is, but let's just say, to make it easier right now, because I can't find the words, at a seacoast, the horizon line. You're standing at just the perfect angle to where the horizon casts some sort of a reflection of the sky itself over the water, and say there was like a ship or like a barge of some kind out in the sea, and it's far enough away to where it's like at where your vision is to the horizon line. Morgana makes it so that it looks like the ship is actually floating above the water, as if it's flying on nothing. Somehow the sky is reflecting underneath it on the waterline to where the horizon itself almost appears invisible, to where you can't see it, and the ship actually looks like it's, well, hovering in midair. This has even happened there's been many reports of it over sightings of Morgana over China, mainly in, I believe, western and central China, mainly due to high rates of pollution clouds, and also in Mongolia there's been a lot of sightings of Morgana, again from pollution, and it actually makes it look like you can find these actually incredibly unnerving to me but fascinating photos of the reflection makes it look like there's buildings in the clouds. Actually, think of it this way, if you go back and scroll to the beginning of my channel, when I made the Minecraft videos of my cities in Minecraft that Reef, my sibling, helped lay some of the foundations for, and Icarus, that I built on my own. But Reef being underwater, Icarus being in the clouds. So I'm just using this as an example. Just think of a more blurry version, I guess, of Icarus. Or no, actually, if you like go to the end of my last part of filming Icarus, where I was showcasing it, and when I start to like the character, my character model, as I start to fly backwards from the city in the clouds, pause it at just enough of a moment to where like you can kind of see Icarus. That's what like city structures of Fata Morgana in the clouds look like. It's very interesting. Or just look it up on whatever device you have. That probably would have just been a better example. I was trying to find an example of it, but it's very spooky and very. It's very unnerving, but very interesting. And that right there reminds me of Fata Morgana. Okay. Let's keep moving. So apparently the building I just showed you, the one with the Fata Morgana-like reflection on the water, is the Canadian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Either the Foreign Affairs Division of the RCMP, or maybe has some relation to CSIS. I don't know. Let's talk about something I brought up in the last video a bit. Internalized anger. I said that, well, in my opinion, I have a lot of it. And one of my goals for this year is not in any way to let go of anger. But in terms of when I am getting very annoyed, agitated, or just enraged, I need to try to not be so vocally aggressive. Because I've come to realize, it seems, with most of my endeavors, getting vocally irate doesn't seem to do me much good in most instances. Most of the time, the other person or people who I'm, showing anger towards will just snap back with large eruption in vocalized anger. Hypocritically enough, it's often people who have told me to just let go of anger. themselves well, they're not very good at following their own philosophical code there, in that regard at least. I'll try and make it. But probably wondering, well, how did I come to the conclusion that I have a lot of internalized aggression? Well, really, all I did was, me personally, I thought about my morality and what I'm passionate about. Just, I guess in a general sense, but more specifically, in terms of what I feel to be ethical, what I deeply care about. Or philosophically, what would be, well, better livelihoods to lead. Let's go this way. I'll walk the road as well, why not? I just thought about a multitude of things that, well, I care enough about to ramble on about them for hours upon hours on this channel, or just in general in my day-to-day life, whether it's to someone or to myself. I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool wall of mist that's, well, covering a lot of the mountains or hills of Quebec. And whilst thinking about, well, these things that I'm passionate towards, realizing that a lot of subdivisions surrounding the Rideau grounds have very thin roadways. And whilst thinking about my passions, I just kind of, well, at least for now, have come to the realization that I feel that anyone who is deeply passionate about something enough that they're willing to, well, in a certain sense, defend it very confidently, or just get very, well, assertive, or very vocally aggressive if you think what someone is saying about that said thing is complete nonsense, and you want to just try and prove to them that it's not. Well, I now feel that anyone who's really passionate about something, I think, has some form of internalized anger. Because really, I guess subconsciously, if you were so passionate about something, let's say something that was being, just checking the charge. If you're so passionate about something and genuinely care to the point of defending it wholeheartedly, even if you, in a less narcissistic sense, can admit when you're wrong. Oh. Well, if something that you care about deeply is being tarnished in whatever way on a daily basis, destroyed in the littlest amounts of, well, really the most minor of efforts it takes some people to knowingly or unknowingly destroy something beneficial, or what you see as beneficial, well, then I think psychologically you probably do have a lot of internalized anger if you're willing to defend something like that, or get passionate about it, very passionate about it. Because if not, then you'd probably just be vocally very angry about the destruction of that thing 24/7. That's what I'm starting to feel right now. And it doesn't have to be some like grand thing, something that is like, it doesn't have to be something, well, this depends on what you consider world altering, but it doesn't have to be something incredibly important to a lot of people. It just really has to be something that is being hindered or wrecked, really, on a daily basis in the smallest of ways that you care deeply about. I feel that you would probably be vocally angry all the time if, well, you didn't have some form of internalized anger. You have to, I guess, or by your morals or how your psychological state is, or at least you feel, you need to keep your passion to that thing contained, in a sense, on a daily basis, so that others probably don't, well, maybe you're afraid that well, you're worried about what the outcome will be if you're constantly angry. Obviously, a lot of people don't enjoy being around intensely aggressive people. Whether their anger is, what I felt before, justified or not. I think most people who are passionate about it just hide that anger to whatever that thing is. Or at least that's what I'm feeling right now. As you can tell, it's starting to spout freezing rain. Wouldn't call it snow with the rate that it's falling at, or the speed that it's falling at. But right now I am just trying to figure out where the bloody hell is Union Street. I have no clue. I'll report back when I find it, if I find it, in a bit. What do you know? It was right down the block from where I was. Well, finally, I guess. Also in this area, I've been noticing a lot of Ukrainian flags strung up on different places. Now, either that's because there's a lot of Ukrainian heritage in this area, or it's just a performative act of some kind. People and their damn histrionic tendencies trying to, well, or maybe they think they're doing something by standing in solidarity with them in that way, which, if you have the means to, and you're not doing more than that, well, that's pretty pathetic. These are nice styled homes, at least in my opinion. Some of them look like a mix of Tudor and this looks more similar to what I saw in Gatineau, the Hall district. Looks like a mix of Western European styles. It's interesting. A couple of days ago, I had a conversation over the phone with one of my friends in Toronto, and They had seen my video that I posted relating to my first job here in Ottawa, why I quit because of the managerial staff and food being improperly cooked. And I talked about how, due to what were my ethics, a more libertarian stance, I did not want to report them, the restaurant, to the public health ministry, because with the authority that they're granted to shut down establishments, well, I don't agree with them having that much authority, so I didn't call them, inevitably. I went through with something else, and it didn't work. Oh. It's a nice little walkway. They asked me, why didn't I? They were curious to know. And, well, I gave them my reasoning. Just put this again. And after talking about it with them for a bit, we got into a discussion about how, they personally thought it made me look like, not reporting them, made me look like a, in their words, poser to my, well, what I feel to be ethically right, as the undercooked food could hurt quite a few people if it was to be consumed. And from my stance, I thought it would have been unethical of me to report it. I think both situations are a problem. Oh my god. Well, hello all of you. I could actually aim it out here. I've never been this close to a small flock of birds in a bush before. They don't seem too frightened of me. If I can actually aim my camera properly to get you all in full view. I have no clue what kind of birds you are. You're small, round, and pudgy. You look like a bit of an overgrown chickadee with more browning on your feathers. No clue. Oh. Interesting. Well, stay warm, fellas. Anyway. Long story short, they just reminded me of, well, they thought that just it makes me look like a poser to my morality. Well, I don't care. I care about the situation. I don't care how it makes me what I did or what I chose to do makes me look in terms of my care to the situation. I care more about what happens as a result of it other than my image, personally. I've already said, and I don't know how many times I have to reinforce this message to people. I am in the midst of a morality crisis. Plus that of an existential crisis, but in this regard, morality. I have done a lot of things over the course of the last, well, predominantly the last 7 months, but more so, I guess, I would say, if we're being realistic, the last 4 to 5 years, that many other people, including myself, would consider unethical. And I've come to accept that. I accepted it when I acknowledged that I'm in the midst of a morality crisis and left Toronto. And because of many recent events, I've further acknowledged it. So, in relation to my new goal of trying to not self-actualize as much, that unfortunately to some degree relates to what I had felt before was morally better to do. And I've also come to realize, in my opinion, morality is practical. I seem to be hearing, especially, not just from people I know, but, people who are just into researching philosophy or psychoanalysis or ideology and morality. I seem, for the longest time, to have been hearing a subtle differentiation between what is practically the right thing to do and what is morally the right thing to do. Here's the thing. The way I have operated for a long time is assessing my circumstances and other circumstances in life and thinking about what is the most beneficial thing for them and for others in their life, or me. Mainly in relation to other people who aren't in my immediate life, what is best for them and others in their immediate life. And I called that self-maintaining altruism. Now, with all that being said, on a daily basis as well, I include in what I do, or try to at least, in a practical sense, what is morally right. I realized I've done that ever since I started doing research on my own and forming my beliefs, seeing what ideologies, cultural practices, things of the sort I agree with, or what aspects of them I agree with, and following what I feel to be most beneficial, whilst critically thinking for myself. And because of that, everything that I've done in my life for many, many years, what I've done or what I consider to be practical, I also consider to be morally sound. And in that sense, well, okay. I'm just very, very tired of... I'll talk about this in a separate video. But I said when I was actively leaving Crow's Landing over the summer, the video I made about me talking about a loss of a friendship. And how I was going to deal with betrayal from people in my life. I said briefly, from what I'm recalling, that I used to use the term moralless to refer to someone who I thought was someone who was overtly hypocritical, who was problematically invasive to people, and just very, very chaotic with their values and beliefs. But I've come to realize that that's not what morality is. I believe, at least as of right now, that human beings will inevitably form morals. Morality doesn't mean good. It doesn't mean or more beneficial. It doesn't mean some sort of value of yours that even really you think about or correctly think about. It's just what you value and think is right or wrong to do in a right or wrong to do in any given situation. Neurologically, we absolutely all have the ability to cognitively form morals. Neuropsychology in relation to, well, there's here. Sorry. In neuropsychology, there's the study of cognition and morality. Basically, cognitive thought process and its effects on moral decision making. And our temporal lobes are the parts of our brains, is the part of our brains that controls our ability for moral decision making. And judgment. Well, shared with the prefrontal cortex in terms of critical thought, but ultimate deciding factor on judgment in many regards is heavily influenced by the temporal lobe. So, with that being said, really when people refer to someone as being moralist, not morally inept. You can think someone is morally stupid, but more or less, it's not actually true in my opinion anymore. They're not more or less, they're just, well, you just hate their morals. If they're, say, a major hypocrite, and they really only go with what benefits them the most, no matter what they originally stated, or what they've said that their stance on something is, or what they would do ethically, well, that's not them being moralists, it's just they have wishy-washy morals. Their morals are to be a complete hypocrite Or, and I guess, well, just philosophically, be like a contrarian of sorts. I guess maybe you could call it like a self-contrarian, but either way. But with all that being said, you know what, actually, let me cross here first. Probably getting tired of just watching the cars go by. Anyway. A lot of people's attitudes, or, well, their mindset is that, well, practicality and morality are, in multitude of regards, two separate things. In my opinion, they aren't. Here's the example. I'll insert my situation, I guess. I didn't call public health or report the restaurant I was working at to public health because let me move over there a bit. Sorry. Of course. I didn't report them because morally, in terms of encroaching policing, I did not want to endorse the fact that they have been granted authority in a systematic sense over establishments.
Your light's green, go!
That was interesting. I didn't want to endorse the fact that that sector of government has the authority to do that. Now, people may say, what do you mean endorse? I was a believer in doing what you can. If you weren't someone who didn't have, well, in terms of your own self-interest, you didn't want to be some sort of revolutionary or become a major civil activist or advocate of sorts. Well, more so activist, but you wanted to help in ways that you can, or work outside of the scummy systems that are set up in this fucking world. If you wanted to try and work around them as much as possible, well, I don't think that you should be using a piece of a system that you disagree with if you can work around it in some way. And with that being said, in a practical sense, I felt me calling them, reporting the issue to them, was me morally endorsing their authority over that business. Clearly, actually no, clearly it is. If I'm reporting them in that so-called practical sense, then that means, talking here metaphysically, that means that I am fine with the authority that they have been granted, or at the very least, my actions, I'm allowing them, by me calling them, I'm allowing them to, I'm granting them my support in the sense for them to use that authority. And here's where practicality comes into that. I don't think it's practical to endorse that socially if you don't agree with it. I think practicality applies to, well, human thought process and our, well, societal attitudes towards things as well. I don't count I don't just count, like, let's say what can I use right now? No, this is crumbly. Okay, say, thought there might have been a block of ice here. A chunk of, oh, yeah, here. Say this. Take this, chunk of ice. If it was, say, for whatever reason, it was practical, say it would do something good if I threw, it would do something beneficial if I threw this chunk of ice through that business's window. Fraser, I guess it's called, if that's how you pronounce it. If I threw it through that window. Say it was practical. Say it would, let's say me throwing it through that window would, it would, oh, okay, well, it wasn't very strong ice. Okay, that now crumbled block of ice. Let's say if I threw it through that window, it would, it would cure dyslexia. Let's say that. It would cure dyslexia. If I threw it through that window, it would instantaneously, it would fix the disorder of dyslexia. Like, instantly. I don't know if that person in there was talking to me or someone else. So it would do that. But in terms of the practicality to that, morally, I do not think, say, destroying that window would, cause the store to blow up, and that business owners, well, all the work they've put into it are, well, they wouldn't have an establishment to run anymore. They would be out of employment, at least temporarily. Probably lose a whole boatload of finance trying to fix the repairs if they were even able to afford that. So, I don't consider that practical. I'm not a utilitarian. I have a whole load of issues with the utilitarian ideology, both classical and ACT. It's utilitarianism to me is my definition of, I guess, from where I had stood in terms of, well, ideology. It's, for me, an ideology that sounds nice. It sounds doable in theory, but in essence, it doesn't work very well. And I can give examples on that, but right now I'm not going to deviate from the point I'm trying to make. I think in some form, people need to actually look at, I guess I'll call it, what is morally practical. Is it alright to endorse me destroying their business for the sake of curing dyslexia? Is that morally comparable? Well, to me, no. Not entirely, no. So, to me, morality is practical. If you're not following what you, well, feel to be morally right for not just yourself, but other people to do socially as a whole, well, then, yeah, I don't count that as being practical. Like, people would try and tell me in this regard, I guess, putting morality aside, what is practical? No, I don't put morality aside on bloody well anything. I don't put what, because I believed in the philosophy of scientism, going with science on everything, with backed up data and information, or as much as we knew. So, ethically, morals are in many regards entirely influenced by science, and science says, in that regard, well, I'd be doing mass damage to their business by throwing that block of ice through their window if it was to explode. And then, well, destroying the business owner's psychological health. Costing them hundreds in profit, whatever they've made. And in terms of psychological science, that doesn't seem practical to me. I hope people understood my examples for that one, or what the point I was trying to get across was. That's why I didn't report the restaurant I was working at. That's why I did my method, and unfortunately it failed. At least in my opinion, it failed. And if terrible consequences happen because of me not calling them and potentially having an inspector go to the place and potentially shut it down, well, then sadly, so be it. I'm not just gonna do something because people pressure me to, without critically thinking about it. And if I don't know what to do, which with pretty well everything by this point, I don't know what to do. Nobody ever in their lives fully knows what to do, not even close. But especially in terms of what I had thought before, or what even with my critical thought I could reason out. Well, I don't know what to do, but with, well, I guess what part of my ethical reasoning remains, well, I'm not gonna do something if I don't know. I'll talk more about that at a different point. But if I don't know something, I'm not gonna hold an opinion on it. I'm not gonna just follow in the herd mentality, just because even if it was for a good outcome, I'm actually gonna think about it. And if I come to the conclusion that it's good to do, I'm gonna do it. Don't know why the recording stopped there, but if not, I'm not gonna do it. And if I don't know, then then I'll step back. And if something terrible happens from me stepping back, well, then that is sad and unfortunate. Okay. Let's see if I can find a place to charge my phone. It has just occurred to me, as I just saw this, rather large crane, industrial crane, rotate the opposite way a few minutes ago, that I have never seen that once in my life. From a skyscraper as tall as a skyscraper construction crane. I have never seen that. Sorry to bother you, but just out of curiosity, do you know what entrance this is to the?
This is Princess Gate.
Okay.
For Rideau Hall. Are you part of the skating group?
I didn't know there was a group. No, I was just wondering if there was a way to get to the skating rink.
Well, it's on a reservation only, and it's part of a group.
Ah.
So there's an online reservation process, and
okay.
So they come in groups. A guide comes and gets them at the gate here a couple of times a night, like 5:30 and 7.
Okay. Is the park area still open?
No, it closes at an hour before dusk every day.
Okay.
This time of year, it closes around 4:30.
Okay.
And, it'll be open back tomorrow. It opens up around 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Thank you. lost the other holder for the other wheel. So I've been lugging it around the cart and the tent on my shoulder, or just dragging it behind me. Oh. Well, I don't know how well you can see it. Probably can't see it too well, even in the day it's covered by a lot of tall, thick pine trees. But, behind me is Rideau Cottage. Good old Justin's humble abode for now. Until the next corrupt bastard comes in. Yeah, I'm just resting here on the outside garden gate. I think I should maybe say one thing here and then just, well, probably tie it into a different video at some point. But, whilst being up here in Ottawa, I've come to recognize an issue of mine that I've, well, along with what I talked about earlier with anger, also internalized. At least I feel I've internalized. And it definitely has been, I don't know why I'm still helping us. Has definitely played a factor in my histrionic tendencies. And why, well, I guess I'm always worried about my memory problems, blurred memory, with my depression and dissociation. For so long, as I've mentioned before, I've loved researching varying things for many years. One of those obviously being geography and culture from around the world in different ethnicities and nationalities. And if you know me, or at least I'd say a fair amount of the people in my life from their opinions, probably if you ask them how versed I am in knowing about my own place in the world and different places in the world, or other cultural traditions or other people's perspectives, they'd probably say I'm actually pretty damn good at it. A lot of my friends for years have, well, I've always gone in long conversations with them about geography, geopolitics, geocultural and socio issues. And I obviously don't put the blame on them for this. Because in reality, I don't think there is anything that could have prevented this. Well, no. One element I'll talk about at a different date. I do kind of put a bit of blame on pressure from others. Not what I did in regards to my research or what I do, but just for my emotional feelings towards it, I guess. When my memory issues are bad, when I have cognitive fog, ever since my pseudo-neurological problems kicked off, I was so scared of losing information that I knew, hurting other people from losing information that I knew, the education that I had, and cover this, and me acting in ways that if I was to have been gaining something as awful as, say, pseudo-dementia or a degenerative disease of the brain or anything else. I'm so scared of acting in ways that I would consider immoral. And in relation to that, it doesn't even just relate to geography or my knowledge of other people groups or parts of the world. It relates to really just all my realms of what I consider my realms of expertise. For the longest time, I've always, I guess, I never cared. Well, I never consciously, maybe subconsciously, well, yes, definitely, I think this is subconscious. I never consciously cared about, I care about what I research and learn and how it can help me and others. I don't consciously care about how it makes me look. Like using education as a form of, social standing ground, like for just social credit. But I do know that I've been subtly aware that I've always been just known as that guy who knows about a lot of different things. Not at all in a narcissistic sense of as if my logic or my knowledge is infallible, which it's absolutely not. It's absolutely not infallible. It is. capable of fault. That's what I meant to say. It is capable of being wrong, fault. But even so, I guess subconsciously just been aware that I carry a lot of, well, in a lot of other people's eyes, I guess, or how they've talked to me, a lot of weight in their eyes in terms of my knowledge to things. I guess this is the opposite. This is the opposite end of the ageism I faced. The intellectual ageism. So, that's definitely another issue of mine right now, is that I've kind of, well, I don't know whether I did before think, yes, this was important in some regard. If you have insight into something, I feel you should think on it and cultivate, well, your philosophies from that. And your your morals, your moral code. Use the knowledge for, cultivate some form of stance with how you think these things should be utilized with the knowledge you have. It doesn't really even, it's not even whether I agree with your knowledge, agree with how you utilize the knowledge that you have. Because I think people can critically think and still come to terrible conclusions. Like, one half of, I'd say, okay, I feel most people in the world really don't at all engage in critical thought. Or at the very least, we all have I thought we all had the physiological, neurological capability of critical thought. But it's very obvious, at least to people who agree with me on this, that most in the world don't. Most people don't engage in high-level critical thought. I'd say a majority of people just are indoctrinated into beliefs, and they don't actually think about the situations they're in or what those beliefs actually do to others when acting them out. And a smaller portion of people do actually attempt to critically think, but they don't come to very good conclusions. There's a reason that there are obviously other elements to the reasons why I'm friends with people who morally are almost completely opposite of what my morals were. More leftist, was libertarian communist, relative egalitarian, I guess you'd call it, as I've kind of changed my stance on that. Half self-serving and half selfless serving. Yada yada yada. But I'm friends with people who identify as capitalist and who are more Republican in terms of more for republicanism in terms of police involvement in society or authority in some way, or could be maybe more of a liberal stance, which is basically just equal opportunity, equal treatment in regards to other ethnicities or cultural backgrounds, just all under capitalist eco-political system. Or people who, me being gynosexual, people who I'm even friends with people who are transphobic and homophobic. Because with what my morality was, I did not want to alienate people like people do to me. And I have empathy for people. And we engage peacefully as far as I'm concerned. But, I put so much weight on my not losing the information that I had stored cognitively. Whether it was right or wrong, not losing it. Maybe it did, maybe the whole me being well-educated kind of just... I don't believe I'm right now entirely suffering from an identity crisis. My issues lie with existentialism and morality. But obviously, as I've said before, I said in the suicidal ideation video when I was talking to my friend in America over text, that it was kind of idiotic of me to say that, them bringing up the point that they thought that I was going through an identity crisis, which I dismissed at the time, and then I retracted my statement by saying it does affect, what I'm going through does affect my identity, so it's kind of stupid, but, well, I'm at a neutral stance with it. This is obviously, well, if I'm thinking about it, part that's affected my sense of identity the most. I guess I subconsciously just associated the amount of education I've gained through research and hearing other people's experiences and talking with other people, and how I guess other people viewed me as being well knowledgeable in it. I guess I might have subconsciously internalized that and assigned that as a part of my identity and not really known it or realized it. Now, that obviously doesn't mean that I don't believe what I say. I damn well do. I've said before that I ultimately don't care. I've said before to people in my life, I don't give a damn at the end of the day what I identify as. I'll identify as a rock on a stick if it means that I actually believe what I say. And that's definitely, along this whole venture, that's also something I have to really come to grips with. The fact that I seem to have internalized some amount of pressure on me from, I guess, others. Not, in many regards, not anything that... none of them purposely did anything of this. Well, except for a few instances. It's not anyone's fault that that happened. That's mine. Well, it's not even really mine if it was subconscious. I can't... Well, at the very least, I wasn't aware of it at the time. It's just, well, it's just something that happened, I guess. It's tensing up. Still quite warm. Oh, I've completely layered up. It's quiet. Trying to gather my thoughts. Conveniently, my phone's dying. Again. One last thing I guess I'll mention here, because it's been on my mind a lot. It really sucks knowing that no matter where you go, in a situation like I am in right now, at least from my perspective as far as I'm concerned, there may be joyful moments, but I know some amount of misery is just going to follow me everywhere. I'm going to make a video depending on where I sleep tonight, I'm gonna hopefully tomorrow film another Exploring Ottawa video. I only really stayed in the new Edinburgh district. I didn't really get to go down to showcase some of the other subdivisions of the Vineyard district today. But some point after that, I think I actually finally have the words to fully articulate what I'm feeling in terms of my existential and morality crisis. I know in the before leaving the college videos I talked about my issues with how life seemed to become far too contradicting, no matter where I looked. But even then, those videos, like I'm trying to stop doing at this point, it's rambling and jumbled. And in my, when I tell people I want to be a pornographer video, I'm more symbolically, I guess, in a creative format, a last ditch attempt making a skit to just express what I was feeling. I don't think I did it well, but yeah, I think I finally actually have the words to, well, explain it better. And actually give, maybe, yeah, rely on examples, to give actual examples. Now for tonight, there is a stairwell at a church that is closer to the Vineyard district. Looks like it could be warm, so I'll try to set up my tent there and sleep there. And if not, well, that doesn't work. Possibly, if I can, seeing as I have an Ontario identity card now, possibly stay at a motel for the night if need be. Don't want to, but if need be. And I don't want to go to them, but the only homeless shelter in this part of the city is run by the Salvation Army. I hate them. They're a corrupt organization. They've pocketed so many donations. Well, they take majority of at least what they do in North America is, it might only be based actually in North America, in terms of profiting people facing homelessness or are in a tough housing situation where they're not staying with people they know very often. The whole shtick is we'll take any leftover toys, like decorations, I don't know their entire list of everything they take, cutlery. We'll basically take a bunch of stuff and pawn it off for as much money as possible to be donated into the programs to help people in need. Well, there's heavy proof that they don't do that very well. That there have been heavy, not just allegations, but a lot of heavy proof over the years that money obtained from pawning stuff off, or stuff that was supposed to be repurposed, has been pocketed by officials within the organization. Or just, well, money has I guess they trailed off down the line of command, and the services they provide are not very adequate for many people, and yet organization leaders seemingly are able to purchase a lot of very nice things, very expensive things, stuff that in previous decades, well, it's interesting where a lot of their financial gain comes from. So, yeah, I don't want to have to go to that shelter if push comes to shove, though. Maybe I could find a grate to set up the tent on. Steam coming off of it. Okay, let me go do that. I've decided to try and sleep out underneath what appears to be a condemned, is that the Catholic cross or the Orthodox cross? Either a Catholic or Orthodox church. But it appears to be condemned. Just gonna attempt to sleep out on the property here. Oh yeah, this is my, well, let me just walk over quick. Ow. Yeah, you can't see it in there. Sleeping bags in there. A fuzzy blanket. This is just the pop-up tent. Oh yes, I should state, after I recorded my last video, I said on that night I was going to attempt to just stay outside in the tent and in my sleeping bag and with my blanket wrapped around me. Just not fall asleep, but see if I could actually withstand the cold out there. And actually, considering I believe it was supposed to go into a deep freeze that night. Oh, no shit, sorry. Should have stayed first. I didn't actually end up sleeping outside that night. It got too late and I wasn't feeling it. So I ended up doing it the next night. But I still tested it. And in terms of its internal heating, it's actually pretty good. It doesn't have built-in internal heating. It's just it actually was able to seal the inside pretty well. And the material it's made out of, whatever it is, whatever the fabric is, was able to keep the light chill, I'll say, that was in it for about 5 hours. And I stayed in there, just lying there for 5 hours. Then it started getting a little colder underneath me, but not majorly cold at all, actually. So yeah, we'll see how it goes tonight. I know that at the very least in this, temperatures like this, I can last for 5 hours of sleep. Maybe I'll set my alarm for 4.5. Right now I'm just charging my phone to get it up a bit, so I can actually do that. Or maybe if I'm starting to gain hypothermia, then that might wake me up. Well, you can freeze to death in your sleep, but, well, let's hope that doesn't happen. If it does, well, if you find my frozen corpse, just upload these clips to my channel if you want. they'll be in my camera roll. Or hopefully, in a few minutes, the exported video will be. It's a rather nice looking church, I'll say that. Or, well, the upper portion is. The bricks, I guess not my taste, but oh well. Yeah, let's hope nobody sees me from the angle that my tent is tucked at. Only time will tell. Oh, 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 oh. 4 years, you think for sure it's all you've got to endure. All the total dicks, all the stuck-up chicks, so superficial, so immature. And then you graduate, but you take a look around and you say, hey, wait! This is the same place that I just came from. I thought it was over. Oh, that's just great. The whole damn world is just as obsessed with who's the best dressed and who's having sex. Who's got the honey, who gets the money, who's kinda cute and who's just a mess. And you still don't have the right look, and you don't have the right friends. And nothing ever changes except the names, the fads, and the trends. High school never ends. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Check out the popular kids. You'll never guess what Jessica did. And how did Mary Kate lose all that weight? And Katie had a baby, so I guess Tom's straight. Reese Witherspoon, she's the prom queen. Bill Gates, captain of the chess team. Jack Black, the clown. Brad Pitt, the quarterback. Seen it all before. I want my money back. The whole damn world is just as obsessed with who's the best dressed and who's having sex. Who's got the money, who gets the honeys, who's throwing up before they digest. And you still don't have the right look, and you still don't have the right friends. And you still listen to the same shit you did back then. High school never ends. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. The whole damn world is just as obsessed with who's the best dressed and who's having sex. Who's got the money, who gets the honeys, who's kinda cute and who's just a mess. And you still don't have the right look, and you still have the same 3 friends. And you're still pretty much the same as you were back then. High school never ends. High school never ends. And here we go again. Good night.